Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. This is Beers from Around the World. I think it's episode 5. Sorry I had a little delay. I'm debating on doing this every other week or trying to get back to every week. I moved, so I was 2 weeks without, and I'm sorry. Doing Beers from Around the World. This is beers from the Ukraine. And from what I'm reading and what I'm seeing, even though these have two tops that are different, it's pretty much all 5 of these are from the same brewery. And then these 2 are from different breweries. So there's approximately, I think I was reading something like 126 breweries now in Ukraine, which is quite a few. I was quite impressed. And some showed 0, which tells me maybe they're not really a brewery. And then other ones that showed how many beers they had. And a lot of them were microbreweries, which was awesome. I know most of these, if not all of these, are probably not from microbrewery. I'm gonna do a little different. We're gonna have a little background here and see if it doesn't entertain a little more. But I'm gonna have pictures flowing, as you can see, but Ukraine is the 2nd largest country in Eastern Europe after Russia, with a population of over 44.5 million approximately. As you can see from the map, which I'm gonna step out of the way a little bit, maybe that'll help. But they're located west of Russia, south of Belarus, east of Poland, north of Romania, and kind of north of Moldova. The favorite sport there is football, European football, of course, followed closely by basketball, bowling. Wait, bowling, really? I mean, I like bowling, but I don't think I like to watch bowling, but hey, bowling. Boxing, ice hockey, and so on. So, Kyiv is how it's pronounced, supposedly. Kiev is how a lot of people pronounce it, but Kyiv is the capital of the Ukraine, located on the, hopefully I get this one right, didn't check the pronunciation. It's with a D, but it has N-I-E-P-E-R, Dnieper River, which cuts almost through the middle, a little bit to the east, but close to the middle of the country. As you can see from the photos of Ukraine, it's hard to narrow down their architectural influences. They have a rich history in many different styles of architecture, plus some of the older and newer buildings are actually considered very artistic. As they say, they display originality, maintaining functionality, and show a attentiveness to form. Yeah, I'm not an architect, I'm just kind of explaining that. And obviously they've had a lot of influences from neighboring countries like Lithuania and Russia have heavily influenced the country. So I'm gonna keep the photos going, and hopefully maybe I can get a couple photos of some of the breweries behind some of the beers themselves, so you can kind of take a look at those. But let's go right into the beer tasting. Let me grab my can or bottle opener, should we say? Okay. I'm gonna actually go this way, even though I'm dying for the dark, which is not cold. I like it cold. Got an amber here. I've got a double bock, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Definitely looking forward to. But the first one we're gonna do actually is this unfiltered Umanske, or Umanske. I've listened to a bunch of different people from the Ukraine pronounce this like so many different ways. So feel free to give me a pronunciation down below, definitely appreciate it. But Umanske or Umansk, so many different ways. And one thing, like I said, I've mentioned in a previous video, the big difference between people here in the US and people, especially in Eastern European countries that I've been listening to, is they say things very fluent, but very soft and fluent. It's so hard to pick up on what they're saying versus here in the US, or as people say America, but really it's North America, which we share with Canada. We're loud. May not be the most articulate, but we probably overemphasize things. We'll put it that way. So let's go ahead and get a little W on here, which is one of the other reasons you know it's same brewery, because they have the same lid. But this brewery, from what I've seen, actually sets up little mini areas to distribute their beer and food, and it almost looks like a restaurant they set up. Ah, yeah. Definitely an ale. Thought it would be a wheat ale, but I'm smelling more like just a nice ale. Looks like a wheat ale. Tastes like a wheat ale. Okay. Unfiltered. Bet on. And I get a lot of beers here in America or in the US where they are unfiltered and they've been sitting and it has fallen out of suspension, so they're very clear. This has traveled some distance and it still is true to form. It's gonna be hard to get past the foam, so let me get past the foam here real quick. You can say it has great head retention. I almost always get a lot of foam when I do wheat beers, but not all wheat beers seem to have that foam. Honestly, I'm hard to find any aroma. I could smell the ale. Definitely smell the malts when it first came out. I do have that like weedy, I know that sounds weird, but weedy back feel on the back of my tongue. Kind of lingers. It's one of the reasons I like using it whenever I'm doing fruit beers. I like to put either some oatmeal or some wheat in there because it helps the flavor to linger and lets you taste a little bit more of whatever the fruit is that I added or fruit flavors. I don't smell clove. I don't smell banana, so I can't say this is a Hefeweizen at all. Definitely a wheat. It's definitely got wheat in there. Now on the palate, there might be a little bit of clove, but like I said, it's not what I'm used to. If it's a Hefeweizen, it's a very light Hefeweizen, extremely tight bubbles, and I'm seeing a lot of bubbles. And okay, this glass is nucleated. I didn't realize that. But the bubbles are extremely tight. It's a nice beer. It's definitely not your lager. It's not real thin, super easy. It's a little heavier with that wheat. Kind of lingers. Nice sipping beer, maybe early evening or dinner beer, definitely. I forgot to check unrated or untapped, so I'll have to check the untapped numbers. I'll put them up here. But I'd probably give it, sadly, maybe a 2.8 out of 5 if I did untapped. And if I'm in a bad day, I might even go 2.6. It's not that it's a bad beer. It's just, there's nothing standing out. I mean, nothing in a good way that I would want to stand out. There's nothing. It's just a nice wheat beer. That's it. Sorry for anybody who's a big fan of it. It's just a nice wheat beer. That's it. On with the next one. Okay, hopefully this is the best pronunciation. I just checked it out. Umanske or Umanske. Yeah, best I'm gonna do. Unfiltered wheat beer, like I said. It appears that the most of those are brewed by Umanske Brewery. It is a commercial brewery. Untapped has an 83 and 121. They have it at 2 different listings. One's in different language and one's in multiple languages. The average out of the 204 reviews is at 3.03% on Untapped. It is a 5% ABV, no IBU info given, and that's it. Pretty much a Hefeweizen. It's decent. Still got the mouthfeel going on, even though it's been almost an hour ago. Then we have Umanske Kozak. And it says it's an amber lager. From everything I've seen where people pour it, it just looks like a lager. But they said it's an amber lager. 5%. Same brewery, Umanske Brewery. Untapped has 68 reviews at a 3.29. I was going to do the red ale, but this actually got better reviews. And it said they quit making the red ale, which I was told was really good, but it did get a lower review. Also 5%, they seem to love that 5% ABV, no IBU info. And we're gonna go ahead and pop it open, check it out. Hopefully it's got a little bit more going on than the Hef. It wasn't bad, it just nothing special, you know what I mean? Okay, smells a little nicer. Got a little bit of an aroma. Maybe it's one of those noble hops like Saz or Pearl or something going on in there. Has very little head, but that's okay. It is a big boy. We've got a 500 milliliter big boy here. So, and I don't have any of those ABs or any of that other stuff. So I don't think Carlsberg or Anheuser-Busch owns them, but they are a commercial brewery. Very clear, looks like a lager. Okay. I've got a bunch of new lighting going on. So I'm not gonna say it's dark at all. It's just a lager. It's got that nice aroma. It's not as nice, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, Ukraine. It's not as nice as the Czech lagers. The aroma from some of their lagers is just amazing. It is nice though. Okay, now I know why I get to 3.29. Yeah, not their best beer. I'm not gonna say this is their best beer. I would think they probably have something better, and I'm looking forward to that Doppelbock. But this is nice. This is very clean finish. It is a lot lighter on the mouthfeel because it is a lager. I know it's a different type of beer, different style, should we say. One's a lager, one's an ale, but this is just nice. It's refreshing. It's got a Saz. It's got to be Saz. I'm gonna have to say Saz, maybe Pearl, or one of those other really mild hops in that region. But if I had to guess, I'd say Saz, and maybe no Saz finishing hops, which is what I think some of the Czech beers have. Is I think they have a little bit of Saz added towards the very last 5 minutes, and that's what gives it that great aroma. I don't think this has a finishing hop, at least nothing near the end. I don't notice that corn taste that I noticed in some of the other beers in Eastern Europe. Don't remember noticing any, or at least not the majority of any of the Czech beers, but I did notice it in like the Lithuania and Poland. Poland, definitely, I tasted some corn in there. I think this is just straight Pilsner. I mean, it could have something else in there, but I'm gonna say probably a straight Pilsner with an early hop addition, and that's probably about it. But it's a nice, clean beer. If you just wanted something light to start off your day or summer or early dinner, you know, that would be a nice starting beer. Yeah, I wouldn't give it 3.29. I'd say maybe more like a 3.1 or maybe a 3.2. It's, you know, really needing a drink, but it's a nice solid lager. And I'm going to enjoy this. Sadly, the hef I dumped about a little more than halfway through, but yeah, I can enjoy this. Okay, we're on to the next one. Yep, we had the Kozak. That was very nice for a lager. Nothing spectacular, but nice. Now the red ale, which it says it's no longer being produced. And on top of that, Umanske, like I said, Umanske, however you want to say it, brewed by Uman Pivo or Uman Beer. Not sure how that, but it translates into beer from my understanding. Untapped has 280 reviews with an average at 3.15. It's another 5%, no IBU information. This is the one I've been dying to try for a while, and the Doppelbock. Trying to find information on the Doppelbock, but okay, we got something going on here. It's almost like a little bit of fruit, and that sounds weird, but that's what I'm smelling. Here we go. A nice head on that. I don't know if you can really see, but it's pretty clear. Lots of bubbles stuck to the sides and everywhere else. There's some dark fruit going on. And I've had some reds, and sorry, Eastern Europe, but I've had a couple of the darker ones that it's a little darker, maybe a hint of chocolate or something in there, or a hint of caramel, but this one, it's like dark fruit. I'm gonna have to say like a dark cherry. Definitely a little caramel. Okay, it's nice. I expected a little more from that aroma because that aroma was kind of strong. It's got a nice cherry finish with a little bit of caramel. Mouthfeel isn't as thin as the lager. It's definitely more like an ale. A little heavier. Just a little, not like the hef. There we go. Yeah, I like red ales. But this one's got a lot more going on in the aroma than the flavor. And it's a little hazy. Definitely a little hazy. I saw a little thicker, should we say it, towards the bottom. So there may be some yeast in there. Yeah, there's definitely some yeast. I don't think it's all that filtered, or maybe it's bottle conditioned, but I'm okay with that. A little extra B vitamins. Yeah, 3.15 is pretty fair. It's a good beer. It's on the lighter side. It's got a little bit going on, a little dark cherry, a little hints of caramel, very, very mild. Could even be maybe a little heavier on the Munich, but I think it's more of a caramel because the Munich usually gives it a sweetness. And it's really, it has a hint, but it's very subtle. It's not a sweet beer. Yeah. It's a very good beer. Very nice. I'm gonna go have dinner and enjoy a beer. Okay, we had the Umanske Red Ale, which is really good. I'm not gonna say it was amazing, but it had just little unexpected aromas and flavors, which I enjoyed a lot. I'm doing the Doppelbock. I want to try the Doppelbock. It's sitting at 7.5%. I say the magic ABV is 7.5. It is a big boy. I've got a lightly chilled glass that I want, letting it warm up a little bit. But it's the same brewery, except for this says Waissburg Doppelbock. It's a limited edition. And on the back it says Doppelbock Pale Beer, and it is from the Uman Pivo, or Uman Beer, translated. Usually with the Doppelbocks, you get hit with that dark fruit, but I got the dark fruit, but it smells a little like the hef. I'm hoping that's just me. A little on the lighter side, which is fine. There's the bottle. Okay, I do smell some of the darker fruit. I want to say it's got some wheat in it. That must be what I'm smelling. I'm gonna say it's pretty clear. There might be a tiny bit of haze, but it's pretty clear. For 7.5, it drinks a little lighter. Say it's closer to maybe a 6.8 maybe, as far as the way it drinks. I'm not saying it's not a 7.5, I'm just saying 7.5 usually hits you a little harder than that. It's got light flavors and definitely a little medium aromas of some of the dark fruit. So it's, I'll say mild all the way around for a Doppelbock. Very mild, but it has the flavors, has the aromas. It's just a very mild Doppelbock. And I've had some Doppelbocks a little lower ABV, a little more flavor, a little more aroma, a little richer. And I've had some much higher, of course. It's a nice German restaurant not too far from us, and I like the Doppelbock they carry. It's from Germany, of course. Well, I'm definitely going to enjoy it. It's a little late night. Setting up for 3 beers. Yes, you heard me. Brewing 1 beer tomorrow that we're going to cut into 3 beers. And it's going to be something completely different. Kind of a take it apart, put it back together, and yeah. I'm looking to brew 2 separate beers. Well, looking to brew 1 beer, cut it in half into 2 beers, and then blend it back into a 3rd beer. Yeah, you'll enjoy that one. Thank you again for joining us here at Bitter Reality Brewing. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and this was the first episode of Ukraine World of Beers from Around the World, but episode 5 for the actual series. Cheers.